When you're constantly surrounded by really strong bench pressers, you learn a thing or two that you don't really see commonly discussed on YouTube Fitness and Reddit and stuff like that. I coach a bunch of 4 plate and above bench pressers, and I'm surrounded by these guys all of the time. And if there's one thing I've noticed, each of these guys has some weird tip or trick that they feel like got them really strong on the bench press. And I didn't really see these things discussed online, I just kind of had to be around these guys to learn it. So in this video, I'm going to share some of these tips and tricks with you. You can apply them to your own training. You probably haven't seen them anywhere else, and it's going to save you a bunch of time and get you really strong on the bench press. And if you want me to just write your training program for you, I'll use all of the information I've learned from these guys, put it into your program, get you as strong as possible. Top link in the description, you can hire me as your personal coach. So let me get straight into it and not waste any of your time. So when I was trying to get stronger at the bench press, when I was more of an intermediate guy, I was benching like 225, 275, I was on my way to 3 plates. I used to watch endless hours of YouTube videos. I was watching every creator you can think of. I was scrolling the Instagram reels, looking at all of these like strength coaches pages and stuff. And I learned a bunch of good stuff, and it got me decent at the bench press. I got to a 3 plate bench by using that approach. But my bench press progress really sped up, and I got to a 160 kilo bench or 352 pounds when I surrounded myself with really strong benchers, guys who were benching 4 plates and above. And I started to notice that these guys were using a lot of things in their technique that I hadn't really seen in any videos. Like, they were all kind of doing similar things. Like, they had a little change here they did to their leg drive or their bar path or something. And I would ask them, like, why do you do that? I haven't seen that discussed online. And they say, like, it just feels stronger. And I noticed all these guys seem to be doing the same kind of thing. So it's really important, in my opinion, that you get around guys that are really, really strong, because they might just know some things that we don't know. And I think the reason you don't see it discussed in videos, some of these tips and tricks, is because one, a lot of guys aren't benching 4 plates. Like, it's not very common. And two, like, it's just kind of normal to them. They just do it because it feels strong. They don't think it needs to be like spoken about online. They probably think it's just common sense to do it this way. So I'm just going to tell you a bunch of these different things. I'm going to list them off. Probably haven't heard many of them, or if you have, you probably haven't heard them in this much detail. And you can literally just go steal them, apply them to your training, and I promise you, you're going to get some bench press PRs out of them. So the first one that I learned from these really strong benchers is bar path. Now this one, I don't see it discussed too much, and if I do, usually, to be honest, the creator is wrong about it, because everyone knows when we squat and deadlift, the most efficient way to move the bar is in a straight vertical line, right? It doesn't waste any energy, it produces the most force. That's kind of common sense logic. The problem is the bench press is a little bit more complex, and we actually don't want to press in a straight vertical line like this because it would be inefficient, and I'm going to explain this for you. And if you go and watch literally any elite level bench presser, go watch Dan Green, for example, they will all press with this kind of bar path, and you need to be using it too, because you're probably using the incorrect way. So let me kind of break this down. So when we bench press, we're holding the bar like this, right? So we've got the arms are stacked, so it's a nice straight line. We're holding the bar directly over the shoulder joint, okay? We're not gonna hold the bar like this. We're not gonna hold the bar like this because it'd be way harder. Everyone knows that. We hold it with the bar stacked directly over the shoulder. Now we start here. However, when we lower the bar, usually we lower it somewhere around like the sternum, the upper abs, okay? So when we lower it like this, that means the bar travels forwards towards the feet a couple of inches. So you can see if we end here and we start here, the bar is traveling this way a couple of inches, right? Now, if we were to lower it in a straight vertical line, we would have to do this. We'd have to flare the elbows all the way out here like a guillotine press. And I don't need to tell you that this isn't a very strong or comfortable position to be in. So we lower the bar down here towards the sternum. The bar moves forward a couple of inches. Now, because of that, when we press, the bar needs to go back first like this. It needs to go back to that original position directly over the shoulder, then straight up to lockout. So when you bench press, the most efficient bar path on the way down is going to be like this just straight diagonal line. But when you press, it's going to be a reverse J curve. So the bar is going to move back first, then straight up. The reason we press back first is because otherwise the bar is going to be out in front of the shoulders, meaning the shoulders have to do a lot more work to complete the lift. You're doing this kind of like weird front raise press hybrid. If you press back first, then straight up, the front delts have to do way less work to complete the lift. It will make the lift way, way more efficient. If you don't press back, that would be equivalent to deadlifting with the bar like 3 inches off your shins in front of your midfoot, okay? You just wouldn't be able to lift a heavy weight. So next time you bench press, try this. When the bar's on your chest, think about pressing it back. You want to aim towards the rack, okay? Another useful cue, you might want to think about winding and unwinding your elbows when you press. So slightly tuck them on the descent and flare them to get them stacked under the bar when you press. And I promise that's going to make the lift feel way, way more powerful for you, and you'll hit some bench press PRs. The next one is how you actually grip the bar. And again, I don't see a lot of people discuss this, because a lot of intermediate guys, if you're around like a 185, 225, 275 bench, like 80 to 120 kilos, most guys will just grab the bar like this and they just do a full grip. So they will grip the bar here quite high near the calluses. Let's say that's the bar, and they literally will just do a full squeeze like this. And I'm not saying there's anything really wrong with that, but there's a lot of give in the wrist. They end up, when they bench, the wrist is kind of like twitching, it affects the elbow position, and it's just not very comfortable or powerful. Not to mention, you're introducing a moment arm between the barbell here and the wrist joint, so this distance between the bar and the wrist, which is just leaking force for absolutely no reason. So instead of positioning the bar here and doing a full grip, bring the bar down towards the meaty part of your palm here. So this part right here, position the bar there, slightly internally rotate your hand so it really sits on that meaty portion, and then pinch the bar instead of full grasping it. So this is called a bulldog grip right here. And basically it's more efficient because, one, it gets the bar closer to the wrist joint, it eliminates that moment arm. Your wrist is also more likely to remain stacked over the forearm, rather than like this where it's kind of twitching around. Again, go watch some of the biggest bench pressers bench and you'll notice they kind of pinch the bar with this internally rotated hand position. A lot of the big guys do it, so I'd highly recommend that you give it a try. The next one is leg drive. A lot of intermediate guys have absolutely no idea how to use leg drive, and if they think they do, they often don't. One of the biggest kind of issues I see with leg drive in intermediate guys, and there's 2 big problems usually. One is they either just don't use it at all, they just leave their legs really relaxed on the floor. Or thing number 2, they have the legs completely relaxed on the descent when they're lowering the bar, and then they'll tighten the legs up and their ass flies off the bench because they're going from 0 to 100. Now, for myself and the guys that I've coached, the best way that I've seen to use leg drive, and just quick demonstration of what leg drive is. Again, I'm sitting in a desk chair right now. Leg drive is literally, imagine I'm led down on the bench press now. I just want to push myself in this direction using my feet. Like this. That's literally all leg drive is. You don't need to complicate it. But the difference between like an amateur using leg drive or an intermediate versus the really strong guys that I coach is the timing of the leg drive. So a lot of these really, really strong guys, what they would do, they will tighten the legs up maybe, let's say 75 or 80% on the descent. So when they're lowering the bar, the legs are on, pushing back, maybe 75, 80%. When the bar gets to the chest, they tighten up the remaining 100%, so that last like 20%, and throw the bar back towards the rack. So you're lowering the bar, the legs are on, let's say like 75, 80%, bar gets to the chest, 100% on the legs, and then they'll throw the bar back. And this timing just really helps. 1, it keeps the ass down on the bench because you're not going from 0 to 100. And 2, it allows you to really utilize that position off the chest to throw the bar back because you're timing it with the legs. The legs are putting a little bit of that force into the bar, making it easier to use that efficient leg drive. The next one is accessory lifts. So every single really strong bencher that I've coached, they have this like one accessory lift that they swear by got them really, really strong. It differs from person to person. You're going to have to experiment with your own programming to kind of figure this out. But every single guy that I've coached that is 4 plates and above, they have one accessory that is always in their program. As soon as we remove it, their bench press starts to feel terrible. For myself, it's a 3-count pulls bench press. I don't know why, but every time I have a 3-count pulls bench in my program, my pulls, the positioning just feels so good, leg drive feels really good, my bench just feels really sharp. as soon as I drop that out, my bench starts to fall apart. Now, we don't need some clear reason or mechanism. We just know that it gets you stronger, so we're going to keep it in. And this kind of comes down to data collection, trial and error, experimentation. This is where I would really recommend that you get a coach to help you figure this out. But yeah, for some of my guys, it will be like a JM press where they train the triceps really heavy. I've got some guys who swear by pin benches off the chest because it patterns their bar path really good, forces them to press back. But for you, it might be something completely different. That's just something I've observed over these really, really strong guys. They all seem to have this like one accessory that just blows up their bench press. So try and find it out as fast as you can. When you've got it, just keep it in the program. Two more. The last two, is number one is holding your breath. So a lot of guys when they bench press, they either don't think about their breathing or they do the typical Valsalva maneuver where they like this, they hold the breath, they do the rep, they exhale. A lot of the biggest benchers that I've seen, and even I do this now, I'll just hold my breath. Like if it's a set of, I don't know, let's say like 5 reps and below, I just hold the breath. I unrack, I take a big breath, and then I just do multiple reps on one breath, because the problem is when you exhale, so let's say for example, you come down or you're on the chest and you exhale, straight away the chest kind of collapses, it dips, you lose some of that tightness, even you subconsciously relax your legs a little bit. And I think that's where a lot of guys mess up, and I'll often see them like on 1 rep max attempts. They'll take their big breath, they come down on the chest, and then they just kill themselves at the bottom of the lift, and they have no power left to kind of press. So I would highly recommend you just hold your breath, take a big breath at the top, do your reps. You can exhale if you need to after maybe like 5 reps or something, take another big breath at the top, and then go again on 1 breath. But that's one thing that I've really seen that all of the big guys seem to just do for some reason. Now, the final one, and this one I never really see spoke about in like intermediate strength circles, is the sink and throw technique. So what I mean by that is a lot of guys when they bench press, usually they'll do like a touch and go. But if you're a guy who pauses your bench presses, most intermediate guys will just kind of bring the bar down, they stop on the chest, and then they just press like this, kind of from a dead stop. Now, the guys who I coach who are really, really strong, and I changed to this myself, and I honestly think I get like 5 to 10 kilos on the bar out of this technique, they will use something called a sink and throw. So basically, they bring the bar down, maybe it's best if I show you from the side. They bring the bar down, they take the bar down hard on the chest. So I literally think about trying to like crush my sternum when I bench. So I bring the bar down quite hard, and this happens to my upper back. You can see this pattern where my upper back flexes and then extends. I'm almost using my upper back or my thoracic spine like a spring. So what I'll do is I'll lower the bar hard, my upper back flexes or rounds a little bit, and then when I press, I re-extend my thoracic spine, and it allows me to generate power to throw the bar off my chest. As opposed to coming down, doing this kind of soft touch, and then from here I have to press from just like a dead stop, I will use that momentum of allowing myself to sink and throw. So my sternum here and my upper back acts like a spring to kind of propel the bar off my body. It's legal in competition. A lot of the really big guys do it. You'll see Julius Maddox does this a lot. Dawson Windham as well is another guy who does this really, really well. But I would highly recommend, if you can control it, like I'm not saying just dump the bar on yourself, relax the arms and stuff like that. But if you can get really good at the timing of this sink and you actually maintain some tightness on the chest, use your upper back as a spring, I honestly think it will really, really help your bench press. So just to wrap up the video, if you want to implement some of these tips and tricks into your program, I would highly recommend that you get on a high frequency bench press program that has you benching 3 to 4 times a week. I've got a free one here. You can literally just go steal mine. If not, find another one online. That's going to speed up your learning of these techniques so quick. I'd highly recommend that you get on a higher frequency program. And then if you have any questions on the bench press or anything like that, post them in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching this video, and until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.